Linda, Peter, thanks for coming to Nexba HQ.
Oh, thanks for having us. Good to see you again.
Yeah, this is so great and very impressive. Well done.
So talk to us. What's been happening since we last saw each other?
I think the session with you reminded us of the opportunities and the potentials, but also the need to start really having a clear strategy around distribution and being strategic about our approach. So the excitement and the energy we got from our time with you led to some really great strategic sessions, which Pete can tell you more about, but it was so great and it's just inspired us even more.
What we've done is we've reflected probably over the last 12 months where we've been and then been able to take that conversations that we had and then peel that back and then start to look at, OK, how do we then consolidate in certain areas and geographic locations to be able to really penetrate those areas before we go further afield?
Yeah, I think building that proof point and that, I guess, sales story about that success and that traction gives you, I guess, the tools and the ammunition to broader scale, get more traction.
And I think from that perspective, it also helps in terms of the, you don't have to try and be everything to everyone. By being into the smaller areas, so your distribution becomes easier. Your relationships become better, and so you're not stretching too far. And then I think that as that grows, we'll then grow in other territories using that same model.
So have you guys identified any new sales opportunities since you spoke?
Yeah, we have. It's probably, again, from a strategy perspective, being able to then take not only the areas that we want to focus on, but also the products themselves. So, we really want to come to market with the brown bottle to be able to distinguish, hey, this isn't a seltzer, it's actually kombucha. But now that our brand's starting to be known, we now need to look at what you guys have done and come out in the slim cans. I think that'll be really good for areas such as festivals, poolside bars and the like there that don't really want to have glass.
Yeah, and we've been asking questions of some of our target groups, particularly younger people. What is it you look for in an alcoholic drink? And it's very clear that, yes, there is an intent to drink alcohol, but they still want to have healthy choices and they want it to taste good.
So tell us, what's the response been since seeing the segment aired?
Well, it was really interesting. Even while the show was being aired, we were having, increased sales coming through. We've definitely had a spike in interest. More people commenting on our social media, asking questions, more interest. So it was really, I guess, an unexpected outcome, and it's been fantastic. So really grateful for that.
So last time we met, I know there was aspirations for international expansion and how to tackle that. Have you guys had any kind of further reflections on that context?
Yeah, we have. We've had some conversations with distributors overseas, and so there is some excitement there. But yeah, I'd love to sort of get an understanding from how you guys have really pushed that in the industry.
No, great question. Well, how about we go and have a chat in the boardroom and
Sounds great.
nut it out.
As we've discussed, we'd like to expand internationally. What would be your #1 strategy for getting that started?
I think the biggest priority for any business planning to take their products overseas is to focus on ultimately what value you're going to provide for your partner, which in this case would become a distributor in a local market. So it's really about looking at every market in an isolation. What competitor products already exist over there? How can you stand out? What value could you offer that distributor who currently doesn't have an alcoholic kombucha?
So we're only 12 months into the journey then. Are you thinking perhaps we're looking at international too soon, or do you still think we should be moving ahead with that?
Yeah, ultimately I think it comes down to your long-term strategy for the business. From Nexba's perspective, we've always had global aspirations for building the #1 naturally sugar-free brand globally, so we needed to go overseas. So it's about focusing, proving that traction, because it can help you roll out regionally. And if you took North America as an example, a lot of Australian brands will focus on the California market, which is 3 times the size of Australia in isolation, but it's ultimately starting there to then scale out from.
So Troy, we spoke about last time about that we've gone through the independent chains, and that's sort of been our route to market in the bottle shop game. You guys obviously have done a great job getting into the big retail side of things. How do you think we can transition out of going from independence into the bigger chains?
The key process and step is to make sure that your independents are winning. So you've got that narrative, you've got that story, that reason to believe, and then you can make that reason for a national retailer to say yes much more simple. Because you've got to remember what is it that you can offer that retailer and why should they take on your product? Are you going to provide incrementality to RTDs in that space because you're something different leverage off the fact that Nexba and other brands in the market are helping build kombucha and the awareness of that. And what Saint and Sinner is extending, I guess, the Australian consumers' love for kombucha more broadly.
Did it take a while to identify, and maybe it's different for each product, who your target was? Who are you really selling this product to?
Absolutely. I thought I knew who my consumer was, and I remember going down to a local beach and everybody there was in a much older demographic that was loving and enjoying the Nexba. One thing that we've adapted is this attitudinal approach to the consumption of Nexba. Naturally sugar-free, there's many people that are going to be health advocates, and they're the people that are more health aware, and they'll naturally gravitate to your product.
Troy, it's been another great session with you. I think every time we sit together, we learn so many things. So thank you so much. We've got lots of things to think about and strategise about, and you just give us hope that, I look at what you've created and you must be so proud of what you've done with Nexba.
Thank you so much, Linda and Peter. I appreciate you coming out. We should say cheers over at Nexba this time.